Hola, buenas tardes, feliz 2026. El día de hoy es un día muy especial. Empezamos nuestra segunda temporada de Café con la Embajada y también inauguramos con un gran amigo checo que es Jan Pumpr, ¿no? Este va a ser nuestro primer programa en inglés. Espero que lo disfruten y a partir de ahora vamos a invitar también otras nacionalidades, todos ellos amigos de México. Hi, dear Jan. It's a pleasure meeting you and to receive you also in the Embassy of Mexico, that is the Embassy of all Mexicans. How have you been?
Very good. Thank you for the invitation. I'm feeling honored to be here. Thank you very much.
Tell us, Jan, a little bit more about yourself. Which part of the Czech Republic are you from?
I was born in Prague and I live all my life in Prague.
Okay, and how did you develop your passion for dance and how would you describe your background in dance?
In fact, there is no dance background in my family at all. I'm probably the first member of the family who is dancing. But I have a background in the music. My father is a non-professional musician. And since as a kid I did gymnastics. So probably, the physical exercise and the music finally meet each other and I became a dancer.
You did Olympic gymnastics?
Not Olympic, was like a non-competitional style.
No, I ask you because when I was young, I remember Nadia Comaneci. She was very popular when she won the medals at the Olympic. And that became a very famous sport also in Mexico. I did for several times, but then I have to leave it because I broke my knee. And my father decided that I should stop doing that. Well, dear Jan, as an instructor, you have been in the US, Japan, Germany, France, Italy, and Switzerland. How was your experience teaching in these different countries?
Well, part of my profession is a dance instructor. The Mexican dance, which we'll be talking about, this is just as my hobby. So it's not part of my profession. And going abroad to another countries to teach, we teach mostly with my colleague Czech national folk dance or social dances from 19th century, so historical dance. And with these styles, we travel around the world. We have experience with many different nationalities. And of course, as you can guess, each nationality is different and it's not about the skills only, but also about the understanding. We have a good connection with Czech communities in the United States, for example. In the 19th century, there was a big wave of Czech immigrants who moved to the United States. They settled down and they have Czech folk dance as a part of their heritage. So it's something very serious for them. Some of them are not skillful at all in the dancing, but it's not the key thing, It's more about the feeling, about the heart, and it's more important this way. On the other hand, we have a very good relationship with dancers in Japan. And they are amazing. They of course, they know usually nothing about the Czech background, about the Czech history, but they are very skillful. They can repeat very careful each movement and they pay attention about details. So yeah, different parts of the world and different experience.
No? Well, I want to share with our public that the school Dvorana has been founded in 1978 as one of the first dance groups in Czechia to promote American-style dancing. When did you become a part of the school? At what age? At what, more or less?
First of all, let me clear one thing, because 1978 we still have the socialism, the communism regime here. So there was no way how to found or establish a company. Okay. So this was just a dance group. It's like after work activity for volunteers who practice country dancing, and God bless, we had that good luck that the founder, Jasan Bonuš, he was the very first one who started teaching American country dance here in Czechoslovakia, which became very famous because of the communist regime. So, American style dancing and music, it was something quite unique and people love to do it. Anyway, the company of Dvorana as a dance school, and also we do partly travel business, it has been established after the Velvet Revolution. So in 1990, we started as a company. And I actually get involved since 1991, when I saw for the first time performing the Dvorana dance group, and I said, oh, this is great, because they did traditional American clogging. It's a stomping thing, you know, kind of tap dance. And because of the rhythm and full of energy, I said, oh, this is great, I love to learn this. So I started as a dancer, started practicing, and in a couple of years I became a leader of the group.
It was a wonderful idea. Yes, I understand it was not founded because it couldn't be a company, because it was a time of the socialism and communism here. But well, I think it was a great, it has a lot of merit because it was by volunteers. You started in 78 until the 90s. It was the end of the Cold War or communism. And now you have remained for more than 25 years, no, independent. I really congratulate you for the effort. In addition to the Bohemian and Moravian folk dances, Group Dvorana also performs traditional Mexican dances. Was this your idea? How has been the experience of presenting Mexican dance styles to a Czech audience?
One more thing to clear. We do not, and this is maybe surprising, but we do not perform traditional Czech folk dance at all. Our dance group focus mainly on Mexican dances now, and 20 years ago we focused mainly on American traditional dancing. We have, of course, many other groups, friends around us who perform Czech folk dances. We teach Czech folk dances, but Dvorana dance group is not performing Czech folk dance at all.
But you teach.
Yes, I teach.
Moravian folk dances.
Yes,
okay.
I do. That's correct.
Yes, maybe I didn't have very clear that information, but I read about the different dances.
Yes.
That was why I was asking you. But how has been your experience? Let me tell you that I was quite surprised when I learned about the Dvorana. No, because somebody told me there's a Czech group that they are dancing traditional Mexican dances, and I said, how come? No, the first time I saw your group, I was very impacted because of the dresses. No, they are authentic Mexican, the colors, the technique that you have is, I thought I was in Mexico. For
nice.
an instance, I had to remember that I was not in Mexico, that I was not maybe in Guadalajara or any other nice city that we have in Mexico. But I was quite impressed about the professionalism of your group.
Thank you. In fact, this was a long way. When I look back to our beginnings with the Mexican dances, I have to smile because the very first step, we had a dance group, and we say we were cloggers, which means tap dancers. So the footwork was something which we knew how to do, work with the feet, following the rhythm. So this was clear. And so I think there was a year 1993 when we invited American group from New Orleans named Komenka. They visit Czech Republic, do a little tour and do performances. And part of their show was a Mexican dance. And they danced the Nayari, the Macheri dance. And we said, oh, this is something amazing. We never seen something like this. And they said, would you like to learn that? I said, of course. So they did a one-day workshop for us. And this was our first Mexican dance. We fell in love with it. And also, of course, there was nobody else here in Central Europe doing it. So we said, oh yeah, let's try to learn more. Unfortunately, this is still the era for us. There was no internet available at all. There was not connection as we have today by email. So the only source for our dancing to be able to study something else, we had videotapes which just been brought or sent from United States. And for a dancer, it's very difficult. If you have a dancer who is performing, in a full speed, doing steps, and you try from that to realize what he is doing try to learn the steps this way, it was very difficult. So of course we did many mistakes in the beginning. I remember when we tried to learn the Jarabe Tapatío. Well, anyway, it's important to start, right?
Oh, yes.
That's the key thing, and then you can correct yourself later.
No, but I admire you because only watching the movie or the video that you have, it's quite difficult, because normally when you're learning to dance, they tell you to the right, to the left, to the front, to the back, and you try it slowly, and I think you couldn't introduce slow motion to the video you were watching. No? Have you ever been to Mexico, Jan?
No, never
How
been
come?
there. At the beginning, we had some friends. There was a lady, actually. She was a Czech lady who married to a German man. So she lives in Germany, but her background was in Mexico. And she was a dancer, so she could speak Czech. And while she was here, we were in touch. So she was, in fact, the very first teacher for us to explain some steps and movements. Then later on we made contact with some other instructors in Mexico, and I had a contact in New Orleans, as I mentioned, and I was in Texas, San Antonio, where also there's a Mexican dance school which I visit. So I was able, that was the moment when I said, all right, this we did wrong and we should do this better this way. So never been in Mexico, but I was later on able to get enough information how to do it and how to do steps.
But I think that you should put that on your bucket list.
You know, we were ready to go with all my group. Unfortunately, this was the COVID year. We already had the airfares and we were ready to go to join the Dia de los Muertos in Mexico, and then we had to cancel it because of the COVID. So yes, this still be on our list.
You need to reschedule, and we would look for the opportunity that you can perform in a Mexican theater or another state, but we will work on that. The first time that I saw you, it was in the Fiesta Mexicana, where you performed with the Mariachi Azteca de Praga, that it's our beloved mariachi that we have here in the Czech Republic. And I remember that this year we organized a very special event that was the first Mexican week. No, the inauguration of this week, that it was intended for Czech people, and we did around 50 different events just in 1 week. It was inaugurated by Dvorana and the Mariachi Azteca de Praga. And I remember we did it in the Prague Library, no, that it has a big auditorium, and it was 95% full. People were really, you performed together, and I remember like feeling in Mexico when you ended up, they start people asking for another song, and it was a great evening, and it was the inauguration for our first Mexican week in Prague. Next year we're going to have our second week, and you are more than invited. We are working on the final details of the program, but we will share them to you, because we would very much appreciate if you can participate again.
Thank you.
Do you see any similarities, Jan, between Czech and Mexican dances? You have learned both techniques, so you...
That's true. I think there's a more difficult answer than the question, because there are always layers. So if we will speak about the joy which people have from the folk dance, it will be the same. You know, people here or people in Mexico. I think there will be slightly, not too much, but there will be a different feeling about like a religion background. If we will look back to Azteca's dances, that used to be more part of the religion ceremony than just, you know, fun. And dances like this, we already forgotten. We have not many dances like that anymore here. And then there will be another layer, which is about the technique. We do not have really like footwork, meaning stumps. We don't do it. There are exceptions, but not really. On the other hand, what we do a lot, we dance in couples, close position, and this is traditional Czech, and you cannot really find it in many regions in Mexico. And there is an exception, and that is the northern Mexico.
The northern Mexico,
but
yes.
we know that that part has been affected by the Czech polka, which in 19th century, I would say the word conquered the whole world, including United States and part of the Mexico. So the famous Mexican polka has a background in the Czech Republic.
Czech Republic.
Yes.
Something else that you would like, other fact or any other anecdote from your group that you have experienced throughout the years? Maybe there are a lot of anecdotes.
I don't know if I have any funny story to tell. I try, we are non-professionals, so the key thing in our group is a friendship. The company, it must be working that way, that we want to be together. At the same time, I'm trying to keep the group on a high level as much as possible, because if there's an audience coming to see us, we must show them something more than just a fun dance. So it's a lot of work. We practice now once a week, but for years we practice 2 times a week. Now we are all getting older, and it's very difficult. That's also interesting to say. It's very difficult to get young people into this. We try many times to invite it. We started a course just for beginners, but nowadays I think many young people don't have enough patience to work with this. They come to the class feeling that this will be fun, do some Latino dance, but when they realize that it takes at least 1 year to practice before they get on a stage, they usually quit, and they don't want to work so hard for a long time. So it's not easy. Well, if you have a beginners like for the Czech folk dance, you can see some results in a short term. To learn polka, if you have a good partner, in 2-3 months you are able to go. But with the repertoire which we have, which is based on a footwork,
yes,
it doesn't go too fast. And I always say you have to be perfect in a slow tempo before you start speed it up. And for many people, this is very difficult to step back until it will be perfect.
Well, it's a challenge, but this is also an invitation that you get involved. Reach out for the Dvorana group. Reach out for the school that you have. Learn not only Mexican, but the different dances that they teach. It's good, it's exercise, it's sport, so it's good for the health of all people. And finally, Jan, again, thank you for coming to the embassy. What advice would you give to young people who are passionate about dance? Or to the Mexican community, any message that you would like to send through?
I think with the folk dance, the most important is the fun, enjoy. That's the key thing, because without it, it's just an exercise. So the technique is not important until the moment that you start to perform for audience who pay tickets to see you. That's the turning point. But in general, dance is for fun, and that's the most important thing. And also dancing is a quite international language. I travel all over the world, and meeting with people who are also involved in the dancing, it's always pleasure. Usually very nice people, easy to talk to, and it's much easier to make a relationship. When I traveled into the United States for the first time, I almost knew nobody there. But as a dancer and clogger, I practice a lot American dancing. It was easy. I just get into the workshop, I meet with people, we talk. I said, I have no place to stay for the next 3 days, and boom, here goes an option, So dancing is a very nice part of the life.
Congratulations, Jan, for you and your team and your friends and colleagues that participate in the Dvorana group. We are very grateful with you, and we hope to collaborate in the future. Thank you very much, and please follow our episodes.
Thank you for the invitation.
Gobierno de México.